A Minecraft movie drops, and the King of Kings is making a return. I'm Van Connor.
And I'm Adam Ball, and this is Off Screen, your 7-day guide to everything movies.
Boom.
Groovy.
Hello and welcome back to another Off Screen. We have got some movies to talk about this week. We're going to look at King of Kings. We're going to look at Drop, and I'm really looking forward to looking at the Minecraft movie because I'm going to be seeing that next week while my son is on half term. He is like the biggest Minecraft fan you've ever met. He completed Minecraft in front of me last weekend in about an hour. So yeah, we're going to see the movie. So I'm really intrigued to hear if it's any good. But yeah, let's start with The Return, which is in cinemas from today. I don't know a lot about this one, actually, to be quite honest with you. I know it's sort of a psychological sort of drama.
Yeah, this is an adaptation of the final few chapters of Homer's The Odyssey. Right, you know the literary titan that is Homer's Odyssey, currently being adapted for the screen in its entirety, apparently, by none other than Sir Christopher Nolan. This movie is going to take place towards the end of that movie. You know what I mean? They'll tell this story at some point. So we have Ralph Fiennes as Odysseus. Odysseus went off and fought, had the Trojan War and the Trojan horse and all that stuff. 20 years have gone by, and he returns to the island of Ithaca. When he left, he was the proud warrior king, the unstoppable titan. He returns guilt-ridden, shamed, disgraced. He feels like he is returning to a place bereft of men who he has taken to war and gotten killed, is his thought, that he has made a widow of every family, every mother in this city, for instance, on this island. At the same time, his son, played by Charlie Plummer, who's actually unrecognisable in this, it had to be said. I didn't realise it was Charlie Plummer from All the Money in the World. His son is, I think he's Themistocles, I think he is. I think he's Themaculus, I think his name is basically fighting for his life because he's the heir to the throne. His mother, played by Juliette Binoche for the screen, his mother being Penelope, is being bombarded by suitors who all want to force her into marriage so that they can assume the throne. And of course, Odysseus' son Themaculus is, a bit of an obstacle in there. So in order to save the kingdom, Odysseus must basically reclaim his throne. He's posing as a beggar and just living in disgrace, not letting on to anyone who he is. But in order to save the kingdom, he is going to have to man up and become Odysseus once more. I've got a clip for you.
I am Odysseus' wife.
Odysseus is dead.
Not to me.
There was no king. He sailed to Troy years ago. Took the best men with him.
All year, suitors have been turning up, waiting for his widow to choose a new husband to be king.
Scoundrels. They're just here for your wealth.
Look at this island. A wasteland. Gangs of thugs terrifying the people.
They need me alive. At least until I choose my husband.
I've got to say, when you said his name's Themaculus, to me that just sounds like some kind of mathematical formula that you did at school.
Themaculus, I'm sure.
I've never heard that name before.
Oh no, it's Telemachus is his name. Sorry,
okay.
Telemachus, which sounds weirdly like the Hispanic name for a soap opera, doesn't it? Like Telemundo, Telemaculus, or Telemanus. But yes, it is that kind of story. Right, this is the weirdest thing. So this movie is just under 2 hours. It's about 5 minutes short of 2 hours. And for the first 2 acts, it is quite a slog. It's quite a slow one. It's a slow burn, very paced art house kind of. It feels like watching an old timey Bible flick, kind of ancient Greek period piece. That said, there are some really good scenes. There are some standout scenes in there. There's a wonderful sequence in which Ralph Fiennes as Odysseus is sat around with a group of other desperate men, and they're talking about the reality of the war that the war that's been fought versus the legends that have been told in Ithaca itself, like the legends that people are being indoctrinated to believe about this great war that Odysseus went and led them all on. And that's quite a well done scene. The third act just goes full Game of Thrones. Like, I'm here for it. Seems to come out of nowhere, but it just goes full Game of Thrones. And I actually think this really works as a movie. Even though it is quite a laboured, slower pace the first 2/3, I actually really liked it. It's a little bit Count of Monte Cristo. It's a little bit, it's got a bit of that vibe to it as well. And Fiennes, of course, is terrific. Also,
as always,
I want to point out, by the way, I didn't update the age rating for any of the films on our script this week, so I don't know what this is rated offhand. Let me check this one. It is a 15.
15, I think.
15. And there is a weird amount of frontal nudity from Ralph Fiennes. That's all I'm going to say. There's just a weird amount of Ralph Fiennes frontal nudity. Go on.
Do you feel less of a man now, Van?
No, I feel about on par, if I'm honest. I feel pretty good. I feel pretty good. Thank you.
I've got to say one thing though. Like, watching the trailer, the cinematography in this does look pretty nice.
Yeah, it really looks the part. I have to say, there's two. The two that we're reviewing this week that basically aren't the heavy hitters, both have interesting visual aesthetics to talk about. So the cinematography on this, for instance, I thought was really well done. And to be fair, when you've got this sort of a production, you've got Ralph Fiennes, and you've got like sort of island setting, because this clearly has been shot in somewhere like Malta or somewhere like that. It's got that vibe. They went to Spain and shot it, or somewhere, or it actually is in Greece. You know what I mean? And it's really gorgeous looking. Like, definitely.
Yeah, it does look like they're in Greece.
But the way it's framed is still designed to have it as gritty and grounded. It's meant to be an immersive, real feeling. Kind of a story.
Yeah, you can almost smell the sweat and dirt on their skin.
Yeah, it's not quite Spartacus. Yeah, it's not quite Spartacus blood and sand level salacious, but it is more like Ridley Scott factual. You know what I mean? It's kind of like Ridley Scott.
Yeah,
like that.
Absolutely. All right. Well, The Return is out in cinemas from today if you want to go and see it. And as Van said earlier, it's a 15. Right. Still to come, King of Kings, Drop. But next, we are going to see if the movie that every child under the age of 10 wants to see is any good. Stay there. Hello and welcome back to Off Screen then. Let's dive straight into our next movie. I have an invested interest in this one because I am being forced by my 6-year-old son to take him to go and see it next week on his Easter holiday. So we are, of course, talking about the new Minecraft movie, which is out in cinemas from today. I think by now we've all seen the trailers. To me, someone who has recently been introduced to Minecraft by my son, who knows everything there is to know about Minecraft purely because of YouTube, I'm kind of into it. Like, I'm feeling it. Like, he's designed some mansions in Minecraft, the houses he's building. I'm like, mate, you're going to be an architect when you're older.
Okay. The weirdest thing I can say about the Minecraft movie is that it basically has naff all to do with Minecraft.
Oh, no.
The weirdest thing about it. It's really strange. Okay, all right, just to explain, and can I just ask, this is a sort of preface to this. Have you seen the new Seth Rogen show, The Studio, by any chance?
No.
It's debuted in the last few weeks. In the very first episode of it, Seth Rogen gets made the head of a movie studio. And the chairman who makes that decision, Bryan Cranston, who's a maniac, is a hyper-capitalist who challenges Seth Rogen to make a movie about Kool-Aid, to go and get some of that Barbie money. We want the Kool-Aid movie.
Yeah.
And I thought of that a lot as I was watching a Minecraft movie, which very much feels like it was made under similar auspices. So, this has come to the screen. This at one point had Rob McElhenney attached from Always Sunny in Philadelphia, Mythic Quest, and of course, Welcome to Wrexham. You know that guy.
Yeah.
He was making this at one stage and then dropped out. It's now gone over to, I think, basically Jack Black and like his sort of band of producer friends. So it's directed by Jared Hess, for instance, who did like Nacho Libre, like directed Nacho Libre, but like, other, Jack Black vehicles. And Jack Black does star in it. He arguably is sort of the lead. He's basically a loser in a small town who finds a myth, who everybody treats as a bit of a joke. He's a sort of failing upstart type, basically a Jack Black character. He's a sort of failing entrepreneur who does Jack Black style ukulele shouting sessions. You know what I mean? Like that. And then one day, as he's failing, he finds a mythical Minecraft orb, which is obviously square, and a sort of glass case that it sits in. And when he combines the two, it opens a portal to the Netherworld. I want to say, you know the game. You would know this better than I do. The Netherworld, where they basically build the Minecraft stuff. The blocks and yeah. And he obviously discovers there that he can build anything he wants. Then, taking what's basically the plot of an episode of Rick and Morty, he builds a society that he sort of creates rules for and laws, etc. And then eventually, bad guys arise. They want to take over this world. They need this orb, and he sends it for safety into the real world. Right. We then follow a set of characters who are basically a teenage girl who's guardian for her younger brother. They've recently become orphaned, I think. They befriend a washed-up video game loser played by Jason Momoa, who's the world's best video game player, I think, from the 1980s, and another actress who I believe is like a traffic warden. And they find the cube, get sucked into the Minecraft world, and basically it's just the plot of Jumanji: Welcome to the Jungle. Okay, so
oh no,
that's really what it is. So here's a clip.
All right, everyone, stay calm. Relaje. Free garbage tip. Fear is just weakness hijacking your body's cockpit.
What in the hell?
And if that happens, you can say Biocon DS to your body plane's navigation system.
What? Yeah, garbage man isn't speaking English or Espanol. What am I doing here?
I mean, it sounds like it's fun, to be fair. I mean, you're an adult, you've watched it, and you're saying what you're saying. Do you think that kids under the age of 10 are going to absolutely love this? Are they going to connect it to the game, or are they going to be a bit like, that's got nothing to do with Minecraft?
No, there's enough iconography. This is not 1993 Super Mario Brothers movie bad in terms of what movie are you making here. Like, did you even play the thing that you were supposed to be adapting? Like, because that was Mario Brothers. Although famously there is an end sequence missing from the movie that explains why the movie is like that. Which is a very, very famous... I'll just as a sidebar for you here. The story is that there is a scene at the end of the Mario Brothers movie that I believe was shot that has two Japanese businessmen buying the rights to the characters' story to turn into a video game. And that video game becomes...
Super Mario Brothers.
Mario Brothers. That was meant to be the scene at the end of the Mario Brothers movie. Right. This is not as bad as that turned out to be, but it is very dumbed down Jumanji, is the best way to call this. Jack Black and Jason Momoa seem to be playing the same character in a film that has absolutely no idea who it's aimed at. Like, it can't tell if it's aimed at 5-year-olds, or if it's aimed at 50-year-olds, or if it's aimed at 30-year-olds, or if it's aimed at grandparents. And it bounces around this tone. So at one point you're watching what's really childish Duplo level humor, but then there's an extended gag about Jennifer Coolidge's bedroom life, we shall say. Stifler's mom. Stifler's mom is in the movie. Yeah, and she's in the movie and she's recently divorced, so her whole character arc is about finding happiness with new love, kind of thing. And you can imagine the zone that goes into, given the actress. And yeah, so tonally it's all over the place. Plot-wise, it really does not need to involve Minecraft at all, because it's the same boilerplate. We need a MacGuffin. This is the MacGuffin. Don't let the bad guy get the MacGuffin. Type Jumanji, Super Mario Brothers, Otherworld adventure. dumbed down, and I will say quite ugly looking. Because it never quite works. Like every character looks ridiculous and exaggerated, and honestly, it just felt dumb.
Do they obviously? As I'm learning Minecraft, it's all about the blocks and the smashing. And my son is constantly, while he's playing it, he's talking to me, going, "I'm going into my chest now, and I'm going to pull out this, and I'm going to pull out this, and I'm going to build this." Do they kind of harvest that in the film and use that? So, putting blocks of steel up and blocks of stone, or do they kind of steer away from that?
Not really. They're literally the Minecraft building function is literally like when the kid. Basically, it's like being Neo in the Matrix. You are the one. You can build stuff. So Jack Black does it at the very beginning of the film. This is how he built the society, and then obviously the kid later on, the youngest member of the group, is also a boy savant, who literally we get to a stage in a movie. Again, I can't stress this enough. Has 7 writers credited on it. And at one stage genuinely features the line of dialogue, "First we mine, then we craft." So, and that is like how they set up for the final battle. They Minecraft all their weapons and stuff. Like, you build the sword, and they build like the fort and all this stuff. And honestly, this is the movie that I was genuinely worried they would make when I heard there was going to be a Tetris movie. And when we were reviewing Tetris, I remember you saying, "So the Tetris movie, go on then." And I remember saying to you, "It's about a man named John Tetris who has to build a house within it." And you started rolling eyes and went, "I'm kidding, it's not." But this is about that level of stupid. Like, why have you done this? Like, I mean, it's making money. It was out last week. It's making money, so it obviously is appealing to people. But I really do think this is watered down sub-Jumanji pap. And honestly, just watch either of the last 2 Jumanji movies again and save your money, save your time, and take solace in the fact that Jack Black is actually in those. I mean, at one point, I was looking at him and Jason Momoa interacting on screen thinking, this product that you are fronting represents the complete antithesis of everything you once were. And the reason that you have the careers that you have today. I was honestly gobsmacked by it. I mean, to say Jack Black fell off, this is a low point for Jack Black, and that is really saying something.
Well, you say it had 7 writers, so I guess, as we know, too many cooks spoil the broth, too many writers spoil the plot.
Too many builders make a mess, evidently. I mean, come on, 7 writers, and the line "First we mine, then we craft" genuinely made it into the movie. God damn, really?
I know, wow. Right?
Oh, and yet this thing is hoovering up money. Like, it had a huge opening weekend.
I guess a lot of that will be off the back of the brand rather than the fact that people really want to see a movie.
I mean, it does go to show you, doesn't it, the success of that. Like the strength of that brand. So you put it this way, there will be an announcement for a Roblox movie in the next week. You know it's coming. Like, that is absolutely happening now. I will give this, if I was going to compare this to anything, this is about as bad as the Playmobil movie. That's my comparison point. Yeah, the Playmobil movie, which everyone forgets existed.
Well, if you know a cinema where you can drop your kids off and leave, I suggest, from what Zavan said, that's probably the best choice this weekend if you want to see the Minecraft movie. But it is out from today. Right, 2 movies to go. We're going to look at King of Kings still at the end of the show, but next we'll see what Drop is all about. Stay where you are. Hello and welcome back to Off Screen then. Let's move straight on to our next movie, Drop, which is in cinemas from today. And this one is a whodunit drama, according to IMDb.
Drama? What? Thriller? Okay, I'll give you thriller. Drama? I mean, there's some melodramatic moments in there, but there usually are in these types of things. Right. So this is the new Blumhouse movie, which, as you know, pricks my ears immediately up. I'm a big Blumhouse guy. Incidentally, I don't know if you caught the announcement this week that it's finally been confirmed that the Universal theme park is going to be in Bedford, near me.
Yes, it's going to be like an 50-minute train journey from me.
Yeah, it's gonna be like 15 minutes down the road from me. It's great. I'm never leaving Leighton ever. Anyway, So one of the things that excites me the most about that is that means that come 2031, because Universal own Blumhouse, for instance, we'll get Universal Horror Nights in the UK, which is the hottest ticket every Halloween, apparently. Anyway, sidebar. This is the new Blumhouse movie. It is the latest film as well to be directed by Christopher Landon, who gave us Happy Death Day. Once upon a time, gives the Happy Death Day movies, and I believe Freaky, the body swap serial killer one with Vince Vaughn and the teenage girl, where the serial killer and the teenage girl swap bodies.
Oh yeah,
which I need to revisit at some point. So I keep seeing clips of. I'm like, that's funny that I remember it being. So it stars Megan Fahey as a widowed mum. She's like a widowed therapist who, I think, a couple of years after being widowed, which we sort of see at the onset of the film, which I think is the wrong choice, but sure, goes on her first date, her first ever actual date post being widowed, with a man that she's been talking to for several months via an app. And he is played by an actor whose name I can never remember, Brandon Sklenar from It Ends With Us. He was the other guy in Atlas. He was Atlas in It Ends With Us, which, by the way, if you've not seen It Ends With Us, is a spectacularly crap movie. It is laugh out loud bad. Like, honestly, the most interesting thing about that movie is the controversy. The movie is such pap. Anyway, beside the point. It's a trippy movie. Anyway, so, love interest in that. He's our guy here. Our widowed therapist goes out on a first date with this gentleman, and the minute she arrives at this restaurant, one of those very nice Chicago skyscraper restaurant type deals, which I've been to, and this very much captures the experience. She gets there, and her phone pings, and someone starts trying to airdrop her memes, effectively, like single image memes, like we all trade every day with our mates. And they start making threats. And before you know it, she is in a cat and mouse game with this invisible psychopath who's then transmitting video from within her home, threatening her son and sister, I think, her son and his aunt, effectively, unless she murders her date. What is a girl to do? Have a listen.
Somebody keeps sending me these.
Oh, Digidrop. I'm more of an airdrop guy myself, but here, I'll show you. So, that's you.
Yeah.
Violet Gates, with your name and your photo for everybody to see. There's your friend. And then this is everybody else that's in the restaurant. I know you gotta be within 50 feet, I think, to send or receive a Digidrop.
That's a fun fact.
We can figure this out.
The thing with movies like these that grips you is we can all relate to it because it's 2025. We've all been on a date with someone that we've met online, right? I mean, it's 90% of the population must have done this by now if you're under 50 or so. So it pulls you in straight away.
And there is that sort of topicality brought up within the movie. It is brought up as a point, like characters do often discuss, like, hey, this is just the new normal, right? Like, welcome to the world kind of thing. And I would say it as a thriller, it's kind of pitched alongside something like Trap from last year, the M. Night Shyamalan one with the serial killer in the stadium. Like, this kind of has a Trap kind of tone to it, although it doesn't fall off quite as hard and quickly at the midpoint as Trap did, because Trap just fell off and went, like, what are you doing? Get back to the movie.
Isn't that the one that ended up all about her in the end?
Yeah, and you're like, whoa, this is not in any way an involving character. Take us back to the character we were interested in. This doesn't fall off to that extreme. Megan Fahey's she's kind of interchangeable. She's an interchangeable horror lead. Doesn't really have the same sparkle that Christopher Landon, for instance, found in his lead with, what's her name? Jessica Rothe, I think her name is, from Happy Death Day, who played Tree. Like, she had a bit more sparkle as a lead than, for instance, Megan Fahey has here, but you're here for the concept and the thriller more than anything else. Like I say, it's that kind of a ride. Much like you were with Trap, and then Trap gave up on. This does delve more into the concept and is a much stronger film. It's not as memorable. It's not as memeable or as memorable as, memeable is almost ironic. It's not as memeable as, for instance, Trap. And I have to say this one criticism, right? If you are someone like me who has, let's just say, seen a lot of Joss Whedon shows, you know, those kind of shows that are filmed around that same sort of region and with the same producers and writers where there's overlap, there is a certain bit of casting in a role in this movie. And the second this character is introduced, because of the actor who's playing them, you immediately go, that's the killer. That's the bad guy.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And then, of course, and the movie obviously confirmed this for me. I'm like, oh, good Lord. Like, it was too good a casting. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, we've got an invisible psychopath. Oh, look, here's Kevin Spacey in an unrelated supporting role. You know what I mean? It's like that level. It's like the reason that you don't see, the reason that they specifically don't show Kevin Spacey in Seven before it's revealed that the killer is Kevin Spacey is because the casting would otherwise, you know, you would immediately think, oh, that's clearly, that actor is the killer. He always plays. Yeah, and they've done that. And it irks me. Oh, it irks me. But yeah, there's some chuckles. There's some good chills in there. But it's I'd say it's quite mid, to be honest. It's upper mid, I would say.
Not really much of a jumpy movie then. It's not that kind of setting, is it?
Not really one of those. No, it's a psycho thriller like Red Eye, to be honest.
Oh yeah,
with it's Red Eye with airdrop. To be really honest. Yeah.
Well, if you want to see it, you can just look for Drop, and it is in cinemas from today. We've got one last movie to talk about. We are going to look at King of Kings. It's animated, completely computer animated, isn't it?
This is computer animated, and oh god, do you know it's one of those things when you start to break it down, you realise how nuts it actually sounds. But yeah, we'll talk about it in a moment.
Right, well, we'll see what Van thought to it in a second. Stay there. Hello and welcome back to Offscreen for one last ride. We are going to dive into the world of King of Kings right now, which is a computer animated movie. And oh boy, it's got one hell of a cast, fam.
Oh, it has got one hell of a cast, hasn't it? Right, okay. Strap on in for this one, because to give this its full title, first of all, it is called The King of Kings, you are in fact correct. But in its unabridged form, it is The King of Kings, a story told by Charles Dickens. So, this is an animated movie directed by Korean visual effects artist Song Ho-Jiang. It's got, as you point out, a hell of an all-star cast providing voices, which includes Oscar Isaac and Kenneth Branagh as its two leads, we shall say. Okay, so the story, which is to say, is 3D computer animated, gorgeously as well, I should add, begins in the time of Charles Dickens, who is doing a stage reading, who has a stage reading of A Christmas Carol go wrong with an interruption by his son. In trying to discipline his son, he winds up reading him a bedtime story and telling him the greatest story, because his son is really into King Arthur, and he says, do you know what, I'll tell you a story of a king even bigger than that, the King of Kings, the ultimate king, the big JC, the J. Crizzle, Jesus Christ, yo. And so we get the story of Jesus Christ told to us by Charles Dickens to his son. And so what you get is, literally, we then see, the movie literally tells the story, but Dickens and his son walk around in the environment and sort of step aside as events happen. You know what I mean? As he's telling this story to his son. It's represented to us as like a hallucination type thing for the son.
Wow.
So, and it is literally the full story of Jesus Christ from birth to death, and I suppose technically birth again, I think.
Rebirth.
And yeah, rebirth, yeah. But yeah, I mean, yeah, have a listen. This is the greatest story ever told by Charles Dickens.
Stop right there.
Our story begins 2,000 years ago when baby Jesus came into the world.
Wait, stop. If it's not about a king, then I'm not interested.
This story is about the King of Kings.
If you're with me, then I know that I will fly.
It has angels and wicked kings and miracles.
Look at all the fish.
Oh, so you want to hear the story now?
Mm-hmm.
watching the trailer while we talk, the animation, hands down, is probably some of the best I've seen with you. I would agree with you. It's absolutely beautiful to look at. And I really love the concept of this as well. I think, why not put the Bible in a movie?
I mean, in this kind of form, do you know the biggest problem is I kept watching thinking I'd rather be watching The Prince of Egypt again, because The Prince of Egypt is like, you know what I mean? Like, come on, you know, Prince of Egypt, right? That movie slaps. The Prince of Egypt slaps so hard that even Ridley Scott in live action could not come close to telling that story. And even though this is not that story, obviously that was, you know, that is Egypt. But this, again, you feel like because of the setting. Right, so the animation, you're right, is gorgeous. The design of it, like, there is such an attention to detail and an eye put into this. Every surface, every texture, every particle simulation, every luminescent glow. There is so much work put into really neat little details that you think, wow, you didn't need to do that. Like, there didn't need to be a reflection on that surface in that window that's showing me, like, you know what I mean? They really have designed this from a creative perspective. The only problem is the way the story has been told. And this is in the writing, I think, is a bit too straight-faced. Okay. I think it's a bit too pomp. It's a bit too Bible. You know what I mean? For its own good. And it's made by Angel Studios, it's worth noting, who are a faith-based studio. They're the ones that they did that. I remember that film, The Sound of Freedom. We didn't get to review it, but it was quite controversial for 5 minutes. It was the right-wing human trafficking movie with Jim Caviezel. It was funded by this studio, Angel Studios, and that's who's done this. They're an interesting organization. So this is a faith-based production. This is meant to be. But at the same time, the supporting cast in it, it's worth noting. Let me pull this up for you, because it's nuts.
I know, this is crazy.
It really is, isn't it? Right. So, obviously, as Charles Dickens, Kenneth Branagh, Sir Ken, right? First junket I ever covered in my entire career, I interviewed Ken Branagh for Jack Ryan's Shadow Recruit. Sir Ken, as I was told to call him. Right. Oscar Isaac is Jesus Christ. You can imagine what Oscar Isaac sounds like as Jesus Christ. You know what I mean? He just talks softly. Pierce Brosnan turns up as Pontius Pilate. Uma Thurman is Dickens' wife. Mark Hamill is King Herod. Luke bloody Skywalker, the Joker.
I know, right?
Mark Hamill, right? Ben Kingsley as Caliphas. Forrest Whitaker as Peter. You know what I mean? They're not slouching on this. And I want to say, I'm sure you'll agree with me, the standard of the animation reflects this level of cast, doesn't it?
Yeah, 100%.
Actually, yeah. Because the movie looks like it's cost 150 million and has been made by like 20th Century Studios or whatever.
Yeah.
And it has this cast. It wasn't even done there. Who else is still in this? There's still people in there like D. Bradley Baker and Jim Cummings as well. Like, that's an insane level cast. Look, as far as straight-faced retellings of stories from the Bible go, it is one of the better ones I've seen. But be aware that it is completely straight-faced. I didn't feel especially preached to or anything like that. There is a sex segment in which Dickens tells his son the story of Adam and Eve, and the way it's done is a bit hammy for my taste, but that's the standard of writing all around. Like I say, it is quite cornball. You know what I mean? Like a grandparent would approve of watching this with their 5-year-old grandchild, for instance. Like an 80-year-old great-grandparent, for instance, might watch this with a 5-year-old, and both would find it perfectly enjoyable, I'm sure.
It's a shame in one respect, because watching the trailer, obviously I'm not listening to anything, I'm just watching the beautiful animation. It does definitely look like a movie that would really benefit from some comedy in it. It absolutely does.
I mean, like I say, as a movie, it's perfectly fine. It's a solid, like, 3-star, enjoyable, middle of the road kind of film, but it is nuts and bolts. You know, it romps like, but it just doesn't break from that tone. It's one of those. It's the Peter Griffin, for the love of God, somebody throw a pie kind of thing. It's like, you know, somebody throw a pie. You know, every now and again, you got to throw a pie. You know what I mean? And this movie, boy, do they, because the attempts at humor in it, like between the characters, are few and far between. I don't think there really are any, to be honest. Like, no one has a personality. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No one actually has a personality as depicted, really. So
It does sound like a nice, rainy Saturday or Sunday afternoon movie to go to the cinema and see, though, if you've got kids or grandkids.
Put it this way, I would imagine if you're one of them kids that gets dragged along to church on a Sunday morning and you're presented with the option of you can stay home and watch this instead or you can come to church, I'd imagine you would take this and you'd be very pleased. You may be very pleased with the trade-off, I think, most definitely. But yeah, you know, as a release for the Easter period, I would say definitely. I could make some money. This being released for Easter probably will make some money, definitely. But yeah, I thought it was fine. I wouldn't really say anything beyond that. But outstandingly animated, outstanding animation, just gorgeous to look at, and a fantastic cast, giving I would say the best performances you can with the script they have.
Well, King of Kings is out in cinemas from today, so if you want to go and see it over Easter, you can. Movie of the week, Van. I'm going to guess you're probably going to go for Drop.
I'm probably going to say Drop, to be honest.
Yeah.
Of them all. I mean, if I'm going to watch it one again, though, I probably would revisit The Return, I think.
All right. Next week, then. Anything big coming up that you want to mention?
So next week we've got Warfare, which is the new A24 movie, and I believe this has been co-directed and co-written by Alex Garland, who gave us Civil War a couple of years, last year. This has got an all-star cast of like young upcomers like Will Poulter and Joseph Quinn, people like that, and it's an Iraq war drama. It's meant to be like a new Hurt Locker type kind of.
Oh, great!
It's an Iraq one, and it's A24, and it's Alex Garland. So you know what I mean. Like this serious muscle there. We've also got a film that this is a film Faith is really excited about. Like she's wanted to see this since she heard about it. It's called The Penguin Lessons. Have you seen the ads for this?
Oh no! But if it's got penguins in it, my other half will be into it as well.
It is set in 1970s Argentina, and Steve Coogan is a British English teacher who rescues a penguin from a beach and sort of has to adopt it. That's
yes,
yeah, you know what I mean. Like, yeah, of course, I'll watch that movie. That movie's probably going to be great. It's a man and his penguin in Argentina in the 70s. What am I not going to love? So we've got that next week. We've also got Freaky Tales, which I'm not sure what this is. This looks like a sci-fi comedy type anthology thing that's got Pedro Pascal and a bunch of other like quite decent names in it. So we've got that to come. And the biggie for the week, new movie from Ryan Coogler, director of Creed and Black Panther and Black Panther Wakanda Forever. It stars Michael B. Jordan from all those movies, his frequent collaborator. It is a 1930s set vampire action movie, and it's called Sinners. That's the magic.
That sounds like it could be a good one, and we will have to wait until next week to find out what Van thinks of it. But we're at the end now. That is, of course, all we have time for this week on Off Screen. We shall return next week. Until then, I've been Adam Ball.
I've been Van Connor, and we shall return.